Good morning. I am Day. Day are my initials. I am in recovery from loss, grief, trauma, and addiction. In my years of active recovery, I have found that upon awakening, it is useful to affirm and devote myself to the me of my recovery, the one that ties all of the pieces together gently, lovingly, and sometimes even fiercely to face each day. With these daily affirmations, reflections, devotions, and meditations, walk with me on the recovery journey of hope, renewal, resilience, and self reflection. And remember that you are not alone. You are welcome to comment and to let me know what your views are of these readings. I would very much like to know what everyone's perception is of the readings. This is one of the ways that I am giving to the Recovery Fellowship by doing the readings so that those who don't have the time to actually pull the books out and read them can put their earplugs in and listen to the podcast. So it is my gift, and I'm using the gift of my voice and my platform that the higher power, who I choose to call God, gave me. I will read now. Fair use. Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. February 2. Rescued by surrendering. Characteristic of the so-called typical alcoholic is a narcissistic, egocentric core dominated by feelings of omnipotence, intent on maintaining at all costs its inner integrity. Inwardly, the alcoholic brooks no control from man or God. He, the alcoholic, is and must be the master of his destiny. He will fight to the end to preserve that position. AA Comes of Age, page 311. The great mystery is, why do some of us die alcoholic deaths, fighting to preserve the independence of our ego, while others seem to sober up effortlessly in AA? Help from a higher power, the gift of sobriety came to me when an otherwise unexplained desire to stop drinking coincided with my willingness to accept the suggestions of the men and women of AA. I had to surrender, for only by reaching out to God and my fellows could I be rescued. Fair use. Courage to change. One day at a time in Al Anon. February 2nd. I used to live my life as if I were on a ladder. Everyone was either above me to be feared and envied, or below me to be pitied. God was way, way, way at the top, beyond my view. That was a hard, lonely way to live, because no two people can stand comfortably on the same rung for very long. When I came to Al Anon, I found a lot of people who had decided to climb down from their ladders into the circle of fellowship. In the circle, we were all on equal terms, and God was right in the center, easily accessible. When newcomers arrived, we didn't worry about rearranging everyone's position. We simply widened the circle. Today, I no longer look up to some people and down on others. I can look each person in the eye squarely and honestly. Today, being humble means climbing down from the ladder of judgment of myself and others and taking my rightful place in the worldwide circle of love and support. Today's reminder: my thoughts are my teachers. Are they teaching me to love and appreciate myself and others, or are they teaching me to practice isolation? Today I will choose my teachers with greater care. Live and let live sets us free from the compulsion to criticize, judge, condemn, and retaliate, which can damage us far more than those against whom we use such weapons. Al Anon helps us to learn tolerance rooted in love. This is Al Anon. Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, February 2. Goodwill is best exemplified in service. Proper service is doing the right thing for the right reason. Basic text, page XV. The spiritual core of our disease is self centeredness. In dealing with others, the only motive our addiction taught us was selfishness. We wanted what we wanted when we wanted it. Obsession with self was rooted in the very ground of our lives. In recovery, how do we root self obsession out? We reverse the effects of our disease by applying a few very simple spiritual principles. To counteract the self centeredness of our addiction, we learn to apply the principle of goodwill. Rather than seeking to serve only ourselves, we begin serving others. Rather than thinking only about what we can get out of a situation, we learn to think first of the welfare of others. When faced with a moral choice, we learn to stop, recall spiritual principles, and act appropriately. As we begin doing the right thing for the right reason, we can detect a change in ourselves. Where once we were ruled by self will, now we are guided by our goodwill for others. The chronic self centeredness of addiction is losing its hold on us. We are learning to practice these principles in all our affairs. We are living in recovery, not in our disease. Just for today, wherever I am, whatever I do, I will seek to serve others, not just myself. When faced with a dilemma, I will try to do the right thing for the right reason. Fair use. Today, Emotions Anonymous, February 2nd. Reflection for today. In the northern part of the United States, we honor a kind of silly tradition called Groundhog Day on this date. As the legend goes, this small animal comes out of hibernation to see if he can see his shadow. If the sun is shining, he runs back into his hole, and that is supposed to mean 6 more weeks of winter, which no one wants. The groundhog reminds me of myself in my pre programmed days, afraid of my own shadow. I was afraid of my past, my present, and my future. I believed the remainder of my life would be all winter. There was no love to warm me or any hope to kindle a spark of energy to set my inner furnace working. I have learned I have nothing to be afraid of because I have a higher power to turn to. My life has grown to include all 4 seasons: summer, fall, winter, and spring. Meditation for today. Help me realize the seasons come for my heart and mind. Today I will remember life is fuller with all 4 seasons. Fair use. Strengthening My Recovery, Meditations for Adult Children of Alcoholics Dysfunctional Families. February 2nd. Identity. In childhood, our identity is formed by the reflection we see in the eyes of the people around us. BRB, page 84. Who were our mirrors? It was the people who told us in words and actions how, excuse me, unwanted, bothersome, or stupid we were. We tried to do what they wanted, but it was usually never enough. Any approval we got was conditional, and it evaporated if we let down our guard by not getting perfect grades, not taking care of our siblings the right way, or not doing the housework well enough. We didn't know who we really were because our identity was whatever they told us it was. What brings most of us to ACA is that we eventually get tired of trying, isolating, and stuffing our feelings. This is where we learn to accept that our parents and families are never going to be like the ones on television or down the street. Instead of continuing to recreate the rejection and abandonment we received as children, we learn to love and affirm ourselves. Our sponsors and fellow travelers tell us to accept only what is good, and if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. We keep following these suggestions repeatedly until we notice we are no longer who we were once told we had to be. We are strong and independent. On this day, I define who I am. Excuse me, I'll start that again. On this day, I define who I am. I am good, and I accept only what is good and healthy in my life. You have just listened to DHB Recovery Network Daily Affirmations, Reflections, Devotions, and Meditations, read by day. Share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be.